Good morning, boys and girls. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about some social studies skills. That's an area in pre-K that's very important that we do cover. And this one in particular that I wanted to read to you today is called Me on the Map. And what it does is it helps you understand your place in the world, boys and girls, that we are part of a bigger world. So let's get started. Me on the Map by Joan Sweeney. This is me. This isn't me in my room. This is a map of my room. This is me on the map of my room. So this little girl drew a picture to show where the things in her bedroom are located. Maybe you can try to do that at home. If you'll notice, she has her dresser on one side of the bed, right? And then there's a rug on the other side of the bed. There's a chair, there's another desk, and another rug. So it gives you a basic understanding of where the things are located in her room. Remember when we talked about maps? This is my house. This is a map of my house. This is my room on the map of my house. So she's drawing her whole house and the layout of her house. And if you'll notice, it's very specific and it'll tell you where everything is located. So, for example, this area is her living room. This is her kitchen. This is her patio outside in the garage. So this is the outside area. She connected it with walls, but it's the outside of her house. Her room, my room, my brother's room, her bathroom, and my mom and dad's room. So this is a good map that she's making of the basic layout of her house. Maybe you can try to make the layout of your house. This is my street. This is a map of my street. This is my house on the map of my street. So she lives in a house on Oak Street, and she even wrote out the addresses: 1234, 1236, 1238, 1235, 1237, 1239. So she lives on 1234 Oak Street. There's her neighborhood on her street. This is my town. Now it's much bigger than her street, isn't it? Okay, so now she's showing her town, and in her town, right, she has there's a plaza, like a shopping area here, and there's a bank, and there's a restaurant. Here's her park. This is her school, and in her town, there's actually a river that goes through the town. And she, I guess, mapped out different buildings. This would be a bigger map, right? The real map. This is a map of my town. So she's looking at her map. This is my street on the map of my town. So remember, she lived on where? On Oak Street. On Oak Street. So she has to look for Oak Street on her town map. So she's able to locate her street in this big map that shows her town, much bigger than her neighborhood, right? Her neighborhood is just one small area of her town. Now, we live in the town of Weston. Many of us do. Some of us live in the town of Davie or Sunrise or Plantation. So it's important for you to get to memorize your address with your parents at home and to understand what town you live in. We go to in the school. The school is located in the town of Weston, but you may not live in Weston. Some of you may live outside of Weston. So it's important to understand that you are part of a town. You live in a house or an apartment on a street in the town of, fill in the blanks. And this is my state. This is a map of my state. Now, this little girl is from Kansas, right? This is my home on the town of my state. This is my town on the map of my state. So she lives in the town of Pleasant Grove, which is outside of the capital, Topeka, which is the capital of Kansas, right? So she lives outside of the capital called in Pleasant Grove. That's the name of her town. Remember, we said for most of us, our town is Weston, but our state is Florida. We are the Sunshine State. Another name for our state is the Orange State. So Florida is our state. Our town is probably Weston or Davie or Plantation or Pembroke Pines, fill in the blanks, but we all live in Florida. The capital of Florida is Tallahassee, but we do not live near Tallahassee because that's up north. We live in South Florida. This is my country, the United States of America. And another name for our country is USA, right? An abbreviation. This is a map of my country, the United States of America. This is my state on the map of my country. So she's pointing to Kansas. As you notice, boys and girls, Kansas is pretty much in the middle of the United States. So this is center part of the United States. We live in Florida. We are on the east side of the United States and the south. So southeast of the United States is Florida. This is my world. It is called Earth. It looks like a giant ball. If you could unroll the world and make it flat, it would look something like this map of the world. This is my country on the map of the world. So boys and girls, the United States is part of North America. What comprises North America? Canada and United States, right? So this part of our world here is called North America, where the USA is part of North America. But there's also Central America and South America. Many of our families are from South America, like Colombia, Venezuela, Argentina, Chile, Peru, and so on. So there's a lot, Brazil. So there's a lot of countries in South America, where most countries in South America speak Spanish, with the exception of Brazil, which speaks Portuguese. And these are the other areas of the map of the world: Europe, Asia, Africa, Antarctica, Australia. And if you take a look, there are 7 continents, which is another way of saying, I guess, the large chunks of area, how we break up our world. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Those are the 7 continents: North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, Australia, Antarctica. So here is how I find my special place on the map. First, I look at the map of the world and find my country. So she's looking at the whole world, and now she looks for her country, which is USA, located in North America. Then I look at the map of my country, USA, and I find my state. And she's looking for Kansas. We would be looking for Florida. Then I look at the map of my state and find my town. So she's looking closer with her magnifying glass. She's looking closer at her map, at her state of Kansas, and she's looking for her town. Remember, she lives outside of the capital. Capitals are usually seen with little stars. So remember, she lives near the capital, which is Topeka, right? It has a star, or the big dot. And she lives outside of that in a town called Pleasant Grove. By the way, Alaska and Hawaii are part of the United States. They're part of our 50 states. Even though they're not nearby, they're considered part of the United States of America. Then I look at the map of my town and I find my state, my street. So now that she's looking at Pleasant Grove, that she found the name of her town, now she's going to look for her street. And her street is Oak Street. So she's locating it. Now she's getting closer and closer to her home, right? And on my street, I find my house. Now she lives, as we said, on 1234 Oak Street. But there's another street that crosses by it, which is called Main Street. Main Street. So she lives on the intersection between Oak Street and Main Street. But her address is 1234 Oak Street. Why don't you take a walk with your parents and find out if there are any cross streets near where you live so you can get an idea of where you are in your neighborhood. And in my house, I find my room. And so here she has her map of her room, and her room is in this part of her house. That means her room is next to her brother's room and across from her mom and dad's room. There's a hallway in between, and they share a bathroom. And when she goes down the hallway, she'll come out and see her living room and the kitchen area, which looks like it's open. And in my room, I find me. Just think. In rooms, in houses, on streets, in towns, in countries all over the world, everybody has their own special place on the map. Just like me. So boys and girls, just like me on the map. I would like for you to go over those concepts that we went over in this book with your parents, and to help you understand that we are part of a bigger world. We can pinpoint where we are in our place in this big giant earth, but by just starting with our houses, our streets, right? Our addresses, our streets, our towns, which are part of bigger cities, which are part of a state, which are part of a country, which are part of a continent, which are part of the world. So you can see how it gets bigger, but then you can also get smaller, and pinpoint exactly where you are in this great big world of ours. I hope you enjoyed that, boys and girls. Make sure to cover those social studies skills. See you next time.